BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports contests and events with first-to-market odds and lines. What's up, y'all? It's your man, Lloyd Spence. And listen, all you got to do is find your reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf, all at betonline.ag. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports information, from live in-game betting, props, and futures. So, head to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BLEAV50, that's BLEAV50, B-L-E-A-V 50, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. It's BetOnline, it's where the game starts. Tell them the Noisemakers sent you.
Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Yeah. Now, yes, I can. So you can get this groove in a bag of a can. You can make it round the world and it holds in your hand. Popcorn World. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. I said popcorn make you smile. Ah. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Popcorn World.
You're now listening to BLEAV in the ACC with Heisman Trophy winner and Florida State legend, Mr. Charlie Ward, Wave 3 TV, and Fern Creek Hall of Famer, Kendrick Haskins, and Mr. Talking Noise himself, and of course, Mama Noise's man, Lloyd Spence. And now, it's time for BLEAV in the ACC.
Good morning, everybody who is watching us live on Facebook and YouTube. We're so glad to be here with you, and we're coming in hot right from the beginning because it is the birthday guy, the sportscaster of the year, Kendrick Haskins' birthday today. And let me just tell you about this dude. He's been humble flexing all over the place. So, I mean, right from...
And that was a humble flex.
I need to literally put it on a loop because...
I feel attacked.
No.
I feel attacked.
Do you feel attacked? Well, you should. Because, listen, it is from golfing with Dale Curry and Steph Curry and Damian Lee to refereeing games with Jack Harlow to a birthday today. You're all over the place. You're Mr. Humble Flex today.
It's been a good week.
To say the least, right?
It hasn't been a bad week this week.
How about that? Happy birthday, man. Let's start out with that.
Happy birthday to you. How old are you?
Now you getting sung to by Charlie Ward? I mean, come on, man. I don't know if you can get more humble flex than this. This is unbelievable.
And that was a humble flex.
I mean, Charlie Ward's never sung to me on my birthday, so...
Enjoy it. Just enjoy it today, Kendrick. On your birthday.
Take it, man.
You're going to be swole.
Like you said, you had a good week.
You'll be swole like you're doing push-ups all day today. Humble flexing.
Hilarious. Uh-oh, we lost him. He couldn't take it.
Maybe
he couldn't. He lost his sound. He's gonna come right back. Okay, but yeah, he's having a good week. I don't know if you saw the pictures, Charlie, but he is he's out here hanging with Dale Curry. He's out here and he took pictures with the Larry O'Brien trophy. I mean, this guy's a star.
I feel attacked. you know, I just go go into work, just punch my time card.
Right. Your time card's gold, right? From what I understand, it's just a gold time card.
I don't dictate where the assignments take me.
True, that's probably true, but you're definitely not turning down the ones you went to this week, did you?
No, I wasn't complaining this week.
That is fantastic. Listen, man, you deserve that and so much more. We appreciate you so much, man. So I had to show you some birthday love this morning.
Yeah, that's a lot of love you showed me today.
What's funny is he came on like, I'm on my birthday. Like, really? You had a birthday? I didn't know. Come on, man. My God, man, we know each other well over a decade or so. I don't know when your birthday is.
Yeah, So, but I mean, what better birthday present than to spend it with you two?
Listen, plus you just got Charlie.
And I'm not even BSing on that one.
Plus you got Charlie Ward to sing you happy birthday, so you're really living your best life at this point.
You're in the road.
I deserve a humble flex just for that.
I agree. By the way, hold on. I'll give you another.
And that was a humble flex.
See, I rocked my Kentucky Colonels shirt because the year I was born was the year they won the ABA championship. So
it's like you were born under the stars, man. I don't know what to tell you.
It all comes full circle.
It all comes full circle.
Me and Artist Gilmore.
Hilarious.
Big Art.
Wait, what did you just say? Big Art? Is that what I heard you say?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a good friend of yours, Charlie?
No, I mean I've known of him.
Oh, of him. Okay.
He doesn't get it because he didn't call him the A train. If he
And
called him the A train,
right. He was on that line. I didn't know where it was going. I was like, is this gonna be like that kind of morning where we're just all home flexing or what? I didn't know what was happening, but okay. You survived it, Charlie. That's awesome. Listen, I don't think this is gonna happen during our show, but if it does, we will certainly inform you guys that today I believe the Deshaun Watson decision is going to go down at some point. I can't imagine it's going to happen this early in the morning, but it might. You never know. By the time we end our show, right? By the time we end our show, it could go down. So we'll see. But Roger Goodell has been lobbying hard for the year. At this point, it kind of feels like the year might be inevitable, but knowing that he's going to appeal and that's the interesting part about this, that he gets to appeal. And then now we're in a whole new dynamic at that point, because I think once the appeal goes through,
He's going to appeal what?
Well, he'll appeal the new ruling, if I'm not mistaken. That's what I'm hearing. I could be wrong, but I think he will appeal the new ruling, whatever that new ruling is. Well, I say it this way. If it's a year, I think he's going to appeal that ruling, which means he's under the 6-game thing until further notice. And so he will definitely play Friday. And then after that, I guess we'll see what happens. But it's all interesting. It's all very, very, very interesting. So
I'll be glad when it's over.
I'll be very glad when it's over, and I don't have to even bring it up. So
I might be just as glad as the NFL is when it's over.
Amen. Well, it could have been over. They could have just left it alone. But
they keep keeping it alive.
I was gonna say it could have been over already, but but anyway. Well, listen, I want to have some fun this morning and talk about this upcoming ACC season, which I'm kind of getting excited for. I got to be honest with you, because it is filled with, maybe for the first time in a long time, filled with anticipation and expectation, and dare I say, a lot of what if. Like, no one, I don't know if there really is a true favorite. I know there have been people saying, Wake Forest should be back in the mix, and maybe Clemson rebounds, whatever. But nobody's really. I don't know if there's a true favorite. You
I
know,
feel like people are picking Clemson by default.
they are right. Clemson to me feels like just the same reason why you pick Alabama at the beginning of the year, because that's just what you do.
Right.
But I don't know if Clemson truly is the favorite of this year. And I think there's a lot of players that could influence whether or not this year is a breakout year for anybody. So I thought we'd go through the list of players that people are going to be highly scrutinizing this year. And we'll do our own little game changers list and talk about some of these guys that everybody's going to be talking about all year long. So I guess we should start at I was going to start at with a different place, but there was kind of a breaking news yesterday that was significant in ACC circles, and that is with Sam Hartman at Wake Forest, and I guess he's out indefinitely with a some kind of non-related football injury, and there's no timetable as of right now as to what his return looks like. If that is all true, which it appears to be, that is significant. Because you're talking about a guy who had 4,000 passing yards, 39 touchdowns. He was a Johnny Unitas finalist. Didn't break through on a Heisman list, but he was, circling the wagons a little bit, But this is significant. As Sam Hartman, he was the heartbeat of that team last year. So if he's out, that kind of opens up everything for everybody, I would think, doesn't it?
I think so, because I think he could have. I think he could have knocked on the. I don't think he could have won the Heisman. I think he could have knocked on the door. He'd have been in the neighborhood, and
right.
That's a serious setback for Wake Forest. I mean, even if their backup quarterback is good, I mean,
right,
it's still you're replacing Sam Hartman,
right.
And so I think that's pretty significant for them.
Yeah. Hadn't he been there 6 years or so? How long has he been there?
He is. It feels like he is the Elliott Perry of Wake Forest right now.
The Elliott Perry resides here in Louisville.
He's been there a long time.
Well, Sam, what you can't replace is the experience. I think that's a lot of people. I mean, talent-wise, you may be able to do it, and system-wise, you may be able to do it, but just the experience and what he brings to that offense and the team in general.
Yeah.
When you have a quarterback that's like him, everyone kind of feeds off of that because they know if they can give him the football defensively, he'll be able to, help the team be successful. And then offensively, he's like the guy that everyone looks to because he's a quarterback. But he's been around. He understands the system. And so I think they'll do fine with their system. But at some point, they're going to need experience to overcome probably some of those tough games that they'll be playing that have some pretty good defenses.
Yeah, I thought Sam got them through at least 4 or 5 games last year solely on the fact that he didn't flinch under pressure. One in particular is the Louisville game. I thought he got him through that Louisville game. That was the sole reason why they won the game. So it's stuff like I agree with you 100%, Charlie. It's stuff like that make you go, well, yeah, you may still have some talent on the field, but boy, there's a gaping. If without Sam Hartman, there's a gaping hole in experience that is undeniable. And I don't know. I agree with you, Charlie. I don't know if you can overcome that easily, unless the guy is that. Now, one thing that is true in college sports, that the supremely talented player can rise to the occasion and get them through, right? The supremely talented. But how many of those are there in, across all of college football? Not many. So now you're just talking about the experience is the other, factor that helps you get through it. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know enough about their overall squad to be able to say, yeah, the backup guy is going to be just fine and he'll walk in and step in and do what Sam Hartman does. I don't know if it's that easily replaceable, even with a supremely talented guy. This ain't Alabama by nature.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, you never know. I remember years ago when Louisville was in the Big East and they knocked out West Virginia's quarterback, and the backup quarterback was Pat White. So,
well, there you go.
You never know. So. I mean, at one point, Florida State's backup quarterback was a punter. He ended up winning the Heisman. So.
He did well. That guy did pretty good. I remember that guy. He did pretty well in his backup role. So,
but their system will get them through, like I said, a few games until people start to figure out, what they need to stop and what have you. So, but when they start playing quality defense, especially in the ACC, they'll get tested. And then again, we don't know what kind of defense they have because last year Sam kind of helped them overcome, some poor defense, by putting up, ball control, putting up points, and so I think that plays a big part in how they move forward.
That ball control, I think, was massive too because he was methodical all year long, and it was a huge benefit to that team. These long, sustained drives. He was the master of that last year, I think. So, I agree with you 1,000%. All right, so that's kind of our development story. I don't know if it's breaking news or developing. I guess we'll continue because they haven't, and they can't technically tell you what the injury is because of the HIPAA laws. HIPAA and FERPA. You can't be telling what college kids are going through, but it'll be interesting to see what exactly happens with that situation. Okay, another player of tremendous interest, and what was interesting when in some of the research I did is he being moved to running back now, Zay Flowers?
I mean, he's going to break guys' ankles like he's breaking that Florida State guy's ankles right there. He probably should be a running back.
Okay, for the record, Charlie, we did not pick this picture in production because it was a Florida State guy. Just happened to be in the particular research that we were doing. But at any rate, I know that Zay has been playing a lot of receiver, but is he being moved? Like, it feels like he's being moved over to something else. And if that is the case, then this could be interesting. Or maybe, I know they run a lot of bubble screens with him, so maybe that's why they had him listed as both wide receiver, running back. Maybe he's like their version of a Marshall Faulk. They're gonna get.
Or they may use him in the backfield to get him lined up on linebackers if teams don't have a plan for that. So I'm sure some of that is just to keep people on their toes.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't, like I said, they probably use them third downs to get the matchups that they want. And also to keep him from, he'll be in the backfield, keep teams from being able to jam him or do whatever the case may be.
Probably a little bit of a Deebo Samuel's role that Deebo played last year for the 49ers.
Well, one thing about Zay that I do like is that he is very, very quick. You could argue that he had a drop-off last year, but you could also argue that Boston College had a drop-off last year.
Yeah, the whole team had a drop-off.
Right, so I'm not going to
the quarterback got hurt for 5 or 6 games.
Right, so I can't, under the circumstances, you got to give Zay a pass. One thing, though, he's a really talented player and very fast. Like, he's got some nice in-space speed and some elusiveness as well. So I like what he brings to the table. Definitely one of those guys I think that'll play on Sundays. I'm not sure what round he is at this point. If you had to project forward, what would you project him at right now today? Just on what you've seen, Charlie.
Either second or third round.
That's what I was thinking.
That's what
Yeah.
I was thinking too. Yeah.
Yeah. I like Zay though. I think he's going to have now it's going to be interesting to see what they put around him too this year, because I think that will also dictate his success, because right now he's been like a significant part of their offense, to say the least. So I'm wondering if they finally got him some help to kind of give him a little breathing room to do what he does. Who else we got going on in this our little presentation?
Let's go back to that Zay Flowers picture one more time.
Go ahead. You like that picture? You do like that picture, is what you're saying?
Poor number 46.
That's all right.
He's doing the splits.
Keep laughing. Keep laughing at the Seminoles. I'm
laughing at a guy doing the splits in the middle of the field. That's what I'm like.
You're not gonna give him a birthday pass, Charlie, just because he's giddy right now. He's had a good week.
I mean, if he was a Clemson guy, I would be laughing too. I mean, it's a guy doing the splits in the middle of the field.
Well, I'll say this: it's a lot harder to make that happen to Tyler Davis. Tyler Davis, 23 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, 2.5 for sacks. He was all ACC first team last year, and arguably, you could make a nice case that he may have been the heart and soul of the defense, and one of the reasons why they were at least competitive last year. They had a down year.
If Tyler Davis does the splits, I don't know if he's getting up.
Yeah, he's done for the year if he does it. He's done for that's a big man doing the splits if he does. But you know what's interesting? As much as I know Tyler Davis is the anchor of that defense, and I don't disagree with where we got. By the way, we're kind of borrowing this information from Sports Illustrated, so shout out to them. But as much as I appreciate them saying Tyler Davis is the heart and soul of that defense and maybe the heart and soul of that team will go as far as DJ Uiagalelei takes them. And if he does it,
there was no need to say his name.
It is if I'm making a point about him. I'm making a point. No, that's not a flex. How's that
We're
a flex?
talking about Tyler Davis and
but how is that a flex though?
Players in the game, and then out of nowhere.
And that was a humble flex.
Just because I can say the name, that's a humble flex.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
He just wanted somebody else to be on his level
so,
today.
Charlie. I think Busy loves company, and that's what this is really all about.
Yes, he's searching for some small straws.
Agreed.
The humble flex used to be Charlie's thing. In the last 2 months, I've been getting it all the time.
That's true.
Yes,
that's true. That's also true.
Equal opportunity.
That is also true.
And that's why Lloyd got it.
That's fair. I'll take it. But I'm not wrong. If he doesn't take steps forward this year, Davis can play as well as he wants, and he played great last year. But he can play as well as he wants. He's going to have the great stats because he's going to be on the field all game. So it's still they got to get some solid quarterback play, or this is not going to end well again.
Right. I can't see DJ not improving from last year, especially now that he has competition at that position. And so I'm sure he's improved. I know Coach Sweeney has talked about, his improvement over the summer and fall camp and what have you. So I'll just be interested to see how he's improved, mainly in the passing game. That was his thing. He's lost some weight. I don't know if that was a big issue last year, but he's lost some weight from what I've heard. And he's got to be able to hit his targets. That was something. He missed a lot of open guys. And I'm sure he's worked on his mechanics and footwork and all the different things that you need to do to be accurate. But I mean, he just missed a lot of open guys.
Charlie, how much of that is just a calm down factor? Like, your anxiety playing the position, the expectation that you place upon yourself and is placed upon you, and you're just anxious. And because when you miss guys as I hate to say it this way, but it's the truth, as badly as he did last year, is a lot of that just there's an anxiety there, and he's just not calming himself down. And he's got to stay in the moment.
No, I mean his mechanics were bad. He's like aiming the ball
So
instead of throwing it.
There was a lot of aiming. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Well, can you fix that? Can you can you really truly fix really bad mechanics like that? Because Dabo has not traditionally been this far off on a quarterback, and so far it's not looking like he got this one right. But now it's early, still early in the game. But
let's be fair.
Yeah,
he came in his freshman year and had two good games or whatever it was.
right.
And everybody was hearing him, the next year, this past year, as, those two games. And he didn't have the type of success that he had in those two games throughout the season.
Right.
Until I thought he played much better the last 3 or 4 games. But I can only imagine him. He seems to be a hard worker, put the time in, and I know he's going to come back and be more improved this year than he was last year because he heard all the noise and all the different things. So he's a competitor, and I can only imagine him coming back and being much better.
Okay.
The offensive line's got to help him too. I think the offensive line stepped back last year too.
Absolutely.
And run game. I mean, Shipley was great, and they'll probably lean on him some more this year. But the offensive line, like you said, needs to improve. They weren't very good last year.
Okay. Well, listen, if as long as the defense does what it does, he's going to have a shot to prove that he's a lot better than he was last year. So
go ahead and say it one more time, Lloyd.
No, I'm not, because I don't want to be humble flexed all day.
Because again, we were talking about Tyler Davis.
Yeah, but I don't want to be humble flexed. I don't want to be humble flexed about DJ Uiagalelei. I don't want to do that. All right, let's jump over to one of my favorite players, Dwayne Carter or Dwayne Carter. I don't know how he pronounces it. I would imagine it might be Dwayne when you make that capital D like that, W like that. I'm not sure what that's about, but a true disruptor. And one of the things I like about him is that he has a knack for creating fumbles when he can break through. Now, granted, let's be very clear, very fair. Dwayne is playing the modern day Lawrence Taylor role in that he's probably the best player on the field on a team that is not very good. But but to that point, when he is able to beat the double team and to break through and get to the ball, he has a knack for creating fumbles, especially if you are a quarterback that holds it just a tad bit too long. He'll get there and disrupt the play. So I like the kid. It's going to be interesting to see how he progresses forward this year and improves upon what was a really, really good season. 36 tackles, 7.5 for a loss, 4.5 sacks, and 4 forced fumbles. Ended up being third team, but that's probably more indicative of the team he was playing on than the play that he provided. But what do you guys think about Dwayne Carter?
It's my fault, but it's not. I still have the image of Malik Cunningham's run against them.
That's fair. No, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. That's very fair.
But he's a good player. He's got those long arms, in which I'm sure is what helps him cause a lot of those fumbles because he can fly at the ball at different angles. But yeah, that they've got to improve because it's him and 10 other guys.
Right.
On defense.
Admittedly, it's not good. It's not good. but he does. And some of it could be being the best, the big fish in a small pond. So it could be a lot of that going on. But he really is I like him as a player, though. I think he could be a steal in a draft somewhere. I'm not sure where he falls at yet, but he's definitely an interesting player. And if he was on a better team, and he's obviously very smart because he's at Duke. So he's got to be somewhat intelligent. It'll be interesting.
Did you ever have a run like that? I don't remember. I mean, you had some great runs at Florida State, but I can't remember anything like that. Maybe in high school, maybe.
Oh, what do you mean? What kind of run? I don't remember that run.
Maybe Lloyd can find it on YouTube and pull it up.
Talk amongst yourselves. I may be able to find it. Let's see.
I'm sure you can. Because Charlie. Think Tommy Frazier against Florida.
Oh, that kind of run where they tackle, everybody tackles and not tackle?
It looks like something in a movie, like a bad football movie. That's what it looked like.
Well, Duke lost one of their top defenders last year. Probably going to hurt Mr. Carter in his production because everyone will start shifting towards him totally now.
Yeah, I think he actually played halfway decent in that game, but it's just that run, it just sticks out.
I think this is the run that you are referring to.
Yeah, no, this ain't it.
Well, that's not it.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
I said, look, I thought that was the one.
You know what? I don't think that's it. No, that's not it.
That's not it. That's just another one.
That's just another one. I mean, they scored like 100 in that game.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. I think it was like 7 touchdowns or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, it was stupid.
But that was but notice they ran on the opposite way that Dwayne Carter was. So they understood the assignment for sure.
So, I'm looking it up too, and then I'll tell you which one it is.
Yeah, send it to me. We may come back.
Who's the quarterback for Duke this year?
That's a great question. Let's see if we can find that out. You guys talk amongst yourselves while I
is Daniel Jones still there?
No, he should be. He should be because he is not ready for.
That's the only quarterback I can name.
he is having one of the. I mean, I don't know what to think about Daniel Jones. I think he's Denny Green part 2 at this point from what I've been watching in camp.
I really like what your Giants are doing.
Listen, overall, we're doing a great job, but my God, he is just, I don't know. He's a crapshoot at this point. I would imagine that the quarterback is going to be.
They had a transfer last couple of years.
Is it Riley Leonard? Is that the guy that's coming in? Is Riley Leonard going to be the quarterback this year for Duke?
Sure.
I don't know.
Because last year was Holmberg, and Riley Leonard was the backup. And I think Holmberg is gone. So I think it's Riley Leonard. 6'4" quarterback, 212 pounds, big guy. I don't know. We'll see. This might be the only podcast in AC that does ACC, covers ACC, that is actually talking about Duke football, by the way. We offer something very different here. We offer something very different. But like I said, I love Dwayne Carter. Love what he brings to the table. Should be an interesting year for him. But he's got to get a lot of help to really have a breakthrough season. Which brings us to Florida State. I thought there's nobody better to tell us about Jamie Robinson than the illustrious Charlie Ward. What can you tell us about the play of young Jamie Robinson?
He's good.
Okay.
He's
fiercely penetrating commentary there.
he's a solid safety, solid player,
okay.
Very good leader. I thought last year he was. I know everyone was high on what's my man Johnson, Levin, but I thought he secured the back end. He made a lot of plays from the
Huge
back end,
year.
from the safety position.
Yeah.
Just understanding route concepts and being in the right spot, making some big time plays, strips, interceptions, but this year, he has a running partner that's improved as well, Keem Ditt, who's formerly a 5-star, that came in as a 5-star, and he's turned the corner
Okay.
this year. So, but they'll be solid on defense.
Will they lean heavily on the defense this year?
No, they'll be balanced.
They'll be balanced.
Offensively, yeah. Offensively, they'll have what they need. Of course, Jordan Travis, he's having a good fall camp.
Okay. So is Jordan ready to take the next step now and kind of bring back some stability at that position?
Yes, he's done that, and they're comfortable with Tate also the backup at this point. If Jordan's not able to go, he's proven to them that he can, keep the offense moving. I don't think they're going to have. They may have some runs for those guys, design runs, but probably not as many as they've had in the past because they have 3 dynamic running backs. So it'll be interesting to see how things in wide receiver wise they've stacked that piece as well.
Are you
for the 2 transfers?
Okay. Are you expecting more ground and pound this year?
No, they'll be balanced.
So full balance across the board. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm hoping that, as great of a season he had, I'm hoping that the free safety doesn't have 84 tackles again next year.
Right.
Safety, what is happening up front?
Yeah, it's an interesting situation. Yeah.
And sometimes safeties end up running the lane as well.
Yeah.
So they end up line around a line of scrimmage. So it's a catch. It really doesn't tell. Sometimes it does tell, but sometimes it doesn't. Especially in this day and age,
right?
With safeties, sometimes they're deep, and sometimes they're the actual lane filler on most runs. They're like that extra guy that you can't block, and so they normally end up putting them in those situations to where they have to be the sure tacklers because everybody else has done their job and they've kicked it out to the safety who's running that lane. So it's a catch.
Linebacker.
Yeah, I mean, but that's every safety on every team's like that now.
Right.
They have to be.
I would say you almost have to be because of the varying offenses that are, dinking and dunking and, that quick hit kind of stuff that goes on now. It's not as many. I don't know. The attack downfield is becoming the way of the dinosaur. Like it just. Okay, Charlie Thomas from Georgia Tech is the linebacker who had a pretty solid year last year. 70 tackles, 10 for loss, 3 sacks, 2 interceptions. Didn't make the All ACC first, second, or third team, but he got an honorable mention. And people remember who he was, but that was probably again indicative of the season that Georgia Tech had. And so,
do you know where he's from?
I mean,
I
yeah,
do not.
Lord.
Did he come from your high school?
No, but we're from the same hometown.
Really?
He went to the rival school. He went to Thomasville
Okay.
High.
Is he fully aware of Charlie Ward? Is he fully aware of who you are? Because he gets no points if he doesn't know who you are. I don't care how old he is.
I'm from Thomasville, so
That's all I'm saying. He should know.
his grandparents live around the corner from me
There it is.
growing up.
Hey.
So,
All right.
I mean, I'm not an authority, but I'm thinking there's not too many people from Thomasville, Georgia, in the Heisman house.
You would think that. You would. I mean, you would think that the kid would be made aware that he's following in legendary footsteps, but I don't know. You know, it depends on the parenting. It depends on the parenting.
well, I'm not the one he's following. He's following in Sean Jones' footsteps, who went to Georgia Tech from Thomasville.
So are you trying? It feels like you're trying to flex a little bit for Thomasville. Like it feels like
I am just trying to make you aware that we have good student athletes coming from
I like it.
Thomasville, Georgia.
I like it, Charlie.
And that was a Charlie Ward humble flex.
Is this the first time we've all been humble flexed on the same show? I think it is.
Yeah, you really humble flex yourself.
Yeah, so I have to because
I don't know why
I have
got
nothing to flex with. I'm unflexible.
You and your
Charlie, are you surprised at that humble flex? Because I don't know why you would be.
Yeah, I am.
He's always surprised when he gets a humble flex.
Well, listen, to the surprise of no one, this guy has made the list of game changers this year. And he's making a lot of lists, to be honest with you. He's on a lot of preseason to watch lists. Malik Cunningham. It feels like an inevitable breakout year for him. It feels like a lot of the things that he has been working on these last few years are finally coming together, and you're going to see them hit the field this year. Very Lamar-esque, if I could say it that way. But I don't know. You know, it's always that X factor. And then here's the other thing that makes it interesting. This is a weird kind of connection, but the anticipation of what is going to happen next year is kind of driving what I think is going to happen this year, because there seems to be this bubbling excitement in Louisville to where they're saying, finally, we're back kind of thing. You know what I mean? And Malik having a huge year could solidify the entire thing. So I don't know. What are your thoughts? You're right there in the middle of it, Kendrick. What are your thoughts in relation to Malik Cunningham building on what was already a pretty significant year? When you look at those numbers, what really gets you is the balance of who he is. You know, 2,900 passing yards, but man, 20 rushing touchdowns to 19 passing touchdowns, and 1,000 yards rushing. That's one man doing everything right there.
I mean, you know, he's second behind Lamar in total touchdowns, or touchdowns accounted for, however you want to say it, as a quarterback. The thing that worries me about Malik is not Malik. The thing that worries me about him is Tyler Harrell and Jordan Watkins transferring out of the program. Tyler Harrell went to Alabama and Jordan Watkins went to Ole Miss. And those two were, I mean, granted, Harrell was hurt. He's been hurt like the whole time he was at Louisville. But Jordan Watkins was emerging, especially Jordan Watkins is a Louisville kid. He went to Butler. Right. But he was emerging last year. Then all of a sudden he transferred out, and then Harrell transferred out. So I'm wondering with these young receivers who's going to step up. I've got total confidence in the league, but I'm just wondering who's going to step on the receiver end to help him out. Because I mean he can run, but he can only run so much. And so who's going to step up and make plays on the receiver end? Because like I said, losing those two was huge losses for them.
if they can step up, what is this like a boom or bust type season for Louisville? Like if they can get the guys to step up, this could be a huge year, and Louisville could be one of those sleeper teams. But if they can't, then they're going to be at the bottom of the pack kind of thing, and there's no middle ground to any of it.
I don't think so. I really and truly, I think they're going to be kind of middle of the pack. They'll be right there in the middle. I can't see them winning the ACC. I can see them being competitive. I mean, they were competitive in all their games last year. I mean, they had Clemson beat and lost that game. They had Wake Forest beat and lost that game. So they're right there. It's just I mean, a couple weird bounces, and maybe they could end up and winning the ACC or in the ACC championship game. But I kind of feel like they're middle of the pack. The thing is with them is the fan base is impatient as usual. They're it's a make or break year for Satterfield according to the fans. I don't think it is. I mean, he's been there 3 years. They've been to a bowl game 2 of those 3 years. And that first year, he inherited a team that won 2 games the year before. And he took them to a bowl win. And they've got this recruiting class coming in next year. That's if it holds, because with football it could fall apart at any point. But if it holds, it'll be the best recruiting class in the history of the program. So you can't fire him.
Which got better again yesterday with the signing of William Fowles, which is a big get as well. So
right, and so they've built so much momentum on the recruiting front that I don't think you can get rid of Satterfield at this point.
I don't know how you do that either. I mean, it feels like
I don't understand all the vitriol towards him. I get it; they got blown out by Kentucky 2 out of the 3 years, but I mean, they're winning games and they're going to bowl games, and so you can't, I don't see how you fire him.
That's one of the things I just I don't say hate, but I just despise is sometimes the people in the building listen to the people outside the building, but if you look at the processes, the trend, then sometimes you have to ride out some of the tough waves, because if you're starting to see progression, some people start looking at the outcome to determine if the progression is fast enough or not fast enough, whatever the case may be.
Right.
But sometimes you have to be in the building to see the processes that's going on to say whether it's a good fit or not.
Right.
But a lot of times we show up to the games or we watching the games and we're saying, well, they're not doing this, not doing that. They're not winning enough, whatever it may be. But they may have the right processes, and it may be just bringing in some different people to help them, write it. Because I went to Florida State the other day, and I mean, I'm sitting in the meetings and I'm looking at what they're doing, or they're being coached. like you show up to the game, they going through situations. The coaches are coaching the kids up the right way. I mean, they're doing all the necessary things. Now it's just a matter of going out and making it happen. And so we don't know. I mean, when we sit back and say, well, if they win 6 games this year, I'm just saying that as a, hypothetical, and all their games were 1 score or close games.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? And people are like, well, they only won 6 games. Well, again, it comes down to certain things, guys making plays, whatever, coming at the right time. But they have all the right processes in place to be successful. And so I think that's where we got to start looking at, like, let's start looking at people's processes as opposed to the wins and losses all the time.
Yeah.
And like I always say, like, all you have to do is look down the road at what UK has done with Mark Stoops. I mean, it was rough there in the early going, but they stuck with it and they stuck with the process. And now you're looking at a team that's picked to finish second in the SEC East behind Georgia. I mean, Kentucky's never been projected like that. I think they were preseason number 21. I mean, that's not normal with Kentucky football, and because they stuck with their coach through through the hard times, and I think U of L could take a page from that.
Yeah, patience can pay off big if you're willing to be that. But I know it's hard sometimes, when your fan base is crying and carrying on and everything. How about Miami? Tyler Van Dyke is going to take the helm there and replace one of Charlie's favorite players of all time. What do you think the transition will be like for this, guys?
Well, he already took the helm. I mean, last year he came in by default. A couple guys got injured, and he took advantage of that opportunity.
Had a good season.
And I can only imagine him getting better, physically stronger, because he was a freshman, wasn't he?
I believe he was, sir.
Yeah.
Which was how he got Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. So I mean, they'll have a solid team. They were competitive last year. They lost. I mean, they're close. Most of the games that they lost were close.
Yeah.
And so they're not far off. And bringing in Coach Cristobal, he's a Miami guy, and he's, has all the bells and whistles now.
Yeah, but there's no more turnover chain, though.
Yeah, he got rid of the turnover chain.
I mean, how's that? I mean, how do you keep going without the turnover chain?
Get turnovers. You need no chain to determine.
You don't need a chain to get turnovers.
Exactly. So
can I be clear about something? I hated the turnover chain. Hated it.
It was a phase. It was a fad.
I get it, but
I was fine with it. I just didn't like the copycats. Like U of L was putting boxing gloves around people's necks and they had turnovers. I mean, it got to be so stupid.
I just didn't like the stereotypical nature of it. I was just like, come on, why are we doing that? The turnover should be the prize, but I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. Another quarterback everybody's going to be looking at, Devin Leary, who also feels like he's been there forever. I don't know. He seems like he's been there forever, but maybe not. But he had a pretty decent year. 3,400 passing yards, 35 touchdowns. He had a decent year. He wasn't horrible last year. And NC State was competitive last year. They were in the mix, so they should feel good about the stability that he brings back to the position going forward for this year.
And Devin Leary, I mean, we were talking about Louisville. It's another close game Louisville had against NC State. They could have won that game, but Devin Leary took that game over in the second half. Leary was fantastic in that game. I think he's a sleeper. I mean, it's a great quarterback in this league, and I think he's nationally he doesn't get much talk, but he's a heck of a quarterback.
Well, yes, he is a very good quarterback, but they're going to have to replace one of their top receivers from last year.
Right.
And I think one of their running backs as well, if I remember correctly.
No, I think you're right.
But I think where they're going to thrive this year is on defense. They have quite a few guys coming back on the defensive side of the ball, and their defense was pretty good last year. So I think that's where they're going to hang their hat to give their offense more opportunities. And Larry's not a bad guy to get a ball to multiple times. So I think that's where they're going to be successful, is on the defensive side of the ball.
How do you guys feel about offenses or teams that are built on defense, and then their offense is more keep the chains moving, kind of like what Wake Forest did last year? Like, I wouldn't say that Wake Forest's offense was dynamic per se, but it definitely was. We're going to Well, it was more dynamic than their defense. So I guess from that perspective, it was better than their defense. But it wasn't like transcendent. Like they didn't just do a lot of amazing things that wowed you. But I mean, how do you feel about offenses that are I guess what I'm saying is they're built on the philosophy of just kind of do your job and make enough points. You know what I mean? Like if you get us to 421, we'll do the rest kind of thing.
I mean, that's what Clemson did last year.
Yeah.
I mean, their defense kept them in all the games, and they were able to pull them out at the end. Scoring 21 points or whatever, or 24 points, and it depends on your team. If that's the strength of your team, then you have to lean on it. And the offense, if it struggles, you just don't need to turn the football over or, give short fields.
But isn't that hard to do? Like when you have a team built that way where the offense,
you can't live on it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's if you're built on get the first down and not we can score, or we have those type of players that can go get make huge plays. That's a harder way to sustain, isn't it?
You're not going to be in a mix for a national championship or ACC championship or any championship if that's what you're built on. You may be able to win your league built on that, but if you're talking about playing in a CFP, that's a no-go.
Yeah,
because you got to be well balanced.
Gives you so much less room for error.
Right.
If that's the case, and plus, if you get behind, what happens?
And that's what it feels like NC State is. Like they're just they're bend but don't break, plodding along. Hopefully something breaks our way, kind of thing. And I don't know if that's a recipe for, but maybe maybe that's what they like or something. I don't know. North Carolina, Josh Downs. See, the dog even agreed with me, and that's when I know I'm winning. Josh Downs, Josh Downs, the wide receiver from North Carolina. He is expected to return and build on what was a really good year. 101 receiving yards. That's pretty good, man. 13 yards per catch. 102 yards per game, 8 touchdowns, 21. The made first team, All ACC, Bolitnikoff Award semifinalist. He had a really good year. You guys' favorite quarterback was throwing to him. He's now gone. So I don't know who's going to throw to him this year, but can he build on that success?
Whoever it is.
What do you say?
Got big shoes to fill, whoever it is.
Big shoes to fill. Big shoes to fill. According to you guys. According to you and Charlie, he's got big shoes to fill.
I know Coach Mack was really trying to play this season down because last season they had such high expectations and they came out and didn't perform as well. And so he's really trying to play the season down, which I would as well. If I just keep my team focused, just like I try to do with my Seminoles. Y'all just keep sometimes trying to wake them up.
You got to keep it down when they're like 10-0.
Well, they are what they are, Charlie. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
They're good. They're good.
Are the Pittsburgh Panthers going to be good this year? The Pitt Panthers. And if so, will Kalijah Cansey have a huge part to play in that? Because he did last year. 35 tackles, 13 for loss, 7 sacks. That's getting it done right there. And Pitt was a middle of the pack team last year. And he was right there in the mix. Definitely one of those guys that's going to play on Sunday. A huge disruptor of the defensive line, of the offensive line. Can they build around him something this year that's sustainable? I guess is the real question.
We'll find out.
Quarterback.
I like the kid. Obviously, I mean, what's not to like about him? Solid player. Syracuse running back Sean Tucker. Most people have no idea who Sean Tucker is because Syracuse was not very good last year, but he quietly put up almost 1,500 yards rushing.
He was.
He was good. So imagine being good when you're the only thing that your team has. That's pretty impressive. You're seeing all of the practically a whole team in the box, and he still put up good numbers.
Yeah, but when they started to play Schrader more, and he gave him that run pass, at least option,
right?
That helped with Sean Tucker be able to explore a little bit more, have a little bit more room, and I think that's only going to increase this season because Schrader's been there and he's comfortable with the offense, and they didn't change coaches, maybe quarter. I don't know.
Surprisingly, they did not change coaches.
No.
I want to stress that surprisingly because I always thought it was inevitable, but they did not change coaches.
I think Syracuse is going to be competitive this year.
Well,
I don't know how many games they'll win, but they'll be competitive.
I thought they were competitive last year. At least at the beginning of the season. Now, the second half of the season seemed like they were.
It kind of fell apart.
Yeah, it kind of fell apart and started getting dusted up. But the first half, they were right there in a lot of games.
A lot of times, injuries, of course, plays a big part. And if you don't have depth, that's the biggest key. If you're going to be successful and maintain, you got to have depth at each position.
Hey, well, they coming out of the box too. I mean, they opened the season with an ACC. They opened the season with Louisville this year. So,
oh wow,
coming out of the box with an ACC play, so they got to be both got to be ready to start the season.
Well, there it is. Another guy that is being talked about quite a bit, Brennan Armstrong. I don't know why it seems like ACC quarterbacks stay for 9 years, but it does feel like Brennan Armstrong has been there quite a while, and we've mentioned his name quite a few times. Had a solid year. I mean, solid 4,400 yards, 31 touchdowns. He put up a lot of yards per game. 404 yards per game is pretty significant. That mainly was probably because he was, in many ways, both their offense and their defense last year.
And another one, I hate to keep coming back to Louisville, but I mean, it's another one that he took over the game late. Louisville had that game won. It's another game that Louisville had won, and he took over the game late last year.
So there's a running theme with this Louisville thing that they got to stop letting quarterbacks go back on it. I think it's what we've developed here.
It wasn't Malik.
Are you a big Charlie? Are you a big Brennan Armstrong guy?
Yeah, I mean, I like him. He throws the ball and he runs it, or did run it really, really well. Early on in his career, I think his first year, he was a little reckless running.
Yeah.
But then last year, I think he played a little bit better, meaning he wasn't as reckless when he ran the football because of injury. I think he may have gotten injured at some point. So I'd be interested to see, him in the new offense, or with the new
of
coach.
These upperclassmen guys, Charlie, who's the one that you think is who will be more draftable and Sunday ready?
I don't know. Probably Leary. He seems to fit what people like.
Okay.
First round type guy. He seems to fit their mode. But But he's probably the only one from the veteran guys that you would think
Maybe
That
would
Hart.
be. Think about you said Hartman.
Yeah, maybe him if he's healthy. Yeah.
The thing about him is just the system that he plays in.
Right. Right.
It's not conducive to anything that's going on
Right.
in the NFL,
mm,
and that would put him late.
that would be, and you can almost say the same thing about Malik, right? Like he's
Now Malik could be a sleeper type guy because there's a model there for a team,
Mm-hmm.
and if he's able to, pass the test of being a pocket passer as well
mhm.
as a dynamic type runner, reading coverages, doing unnecessary things, then he could definitely be a sleeper. I don't know how tall he is. That's the only.
He's Malik is maybe 6'1".
Really?
But he can make the mold.
Okay. Our last guy, Dax Holyfield, came in with a solid year, 92 tackles, 4.5 sacks, and an interception on a probably the I would say maybe the lone bright spot on that defensive squad. Not lone. That seems wrong, but maybe not. But maybe I'm not wrong because it wasn't a great defense, but he definitely played decent football. So
He's very smart.
yeah, I was going to say the one thing you like about him is that he plays a smart brand of football, and he seems to find the ball well, which is nice because you need that in that linebacker spot, somebody that can kind of get you where you need to be, or be where the ball is, or whatever. So
They got a new coach too, so they got new staff. So it's going to be interesting to see how they figure it out.
all right. Well, those are some guys that you should be looking for this year in the ACC. There are others. There are many others actually, but those are some of the names that coming back, returning guys that will probably be shaping the landscape of ACC football this season. It's like I said, it should be a fun season. I don't know if we have a true playoff or even national championship contender in the ACC this year. And from most projections, I think most of the country agrees with that assessment. But you never know. Again, you never know. Somebody may catch fire, and like Wake Forest did last year, and all of a sudden they're in the mix for a little while. So
The thing that we're going to be facing in ACC is there are a lot of teams that are going to be competitive, and so what you may find out is no one team will dominate
right,
the entire deal, and what you may have is 2 losses by everybody potentially within that group, and because like I said, I think everyone's kind of on the same page, at least the top tier teams.
I agree, 100%.
Yep.
Well, we're at the end of the road.
I am excited to see what Miami does with Cristobal because
I am too.
The whole new energy down there, kind of turning back the clock to the U days. Kind of feels like. So I am excited to see what they can do year one.
I am too. I'm very curious to see if an infusion of energy and excitement will push them to back to their former greatness, as they say.
The U has been back about 15 years now, so hopefully.
Yeah, every year they're back. According to when you talk, especially when you talk to you guys, man, we're back now. Oh, okay. You guys got any shout outs that you want to give? I'll actually jump in first. I want to give my big shout out to the arguably the greatest female athlete to ever play any sport. Miss Serena Williams seems to be coming to the end of the road. And man, what a road it has been. I think history is going to be extremely kind to her when you start to really look at exactly what she has meant to not just tennis, but to women's sports in general, and even to little black girls all across the world. She and her sister broke down so many barriers, and basically gave us to be your whole black girl self from start to finish, and she's done that maybe better than anybody ever has. And I don't want to disrespect the greats in tennis like Zena Garrison or Althea Gibson or anything like that, because obviously they paved the way for Serena and Venus to do their thing. But my God, Serena Williams built on that legacy in ways that I'm not sure any of us thought she would. Like, we all thought the Williams sisters would be good, and Richard Williams reminded us that weekly. But but I don't know if we ever thought she would become what she's become. Like, I know the young lady, I forget her name, the young lady that has the record technically of 24 Grand Slams, which is very controversial because she won 11 of those where her biggest and best competitors couldn't even compete against her in Australian Open. So a lot of people say
Margaret Court.
Huh?
Margaret Court.
Margaret Court. I always forget her name. Yeah, and it's very controversial, that record. But I have to say, it to me, it's not even close that Serena is the best to ever do it. Like, she's incredible. And I would put Serena in the conversations that you put Michael Jordan in and that you put Tom Brady in. I mean, she's just transcended. Like, she's a game changer. She's a true game changer. So I want to give my shout out to that legendary coming to an end, but what a legendary run. So,
Coach Junior.
I'm gonna shout out happy birthday to Kendrick Haskins, one of our favorites, the sportscaster of the year. And so that's one. And then I also forgot to shout out my buddy Monty Williams on his extension. That's been a while ago, but I just thought about it. But happy for him. It's a Notre Dame guy. They're in the ACC basketball. Come on over to the ACC football. That'll swing, some votes.
Right.
But those are two of my shout outs.
I like it. Not going to let you get away with that Monty Williams thing, though.
And that was a Charlie Ward humble flex.
Only because you said my buddy. Only because you said my buddy. If you just would have did I did and just said a general, but you said my buddy, so that made it personal.
It's true.
I agree. That's the beauty of the humble flex. It's always true.
And the best part of every humble flex is when Charlie goes, but it's true.
Right. That's actually the beauty of the humble flex. It's true. It is true. And yes, Chad, Charlie and Kendrick have made the Hall of Fame in humble flexes today. It's been quite something to watch. All right, Mr. Birthday Guy, what you got for us?
Well, shout out to Milton and Maddie Haskins for making this day possible.
I agree. They probably need the biggest humble flex of all.
I mean, like I said, I had a fun week. So shout out to Damian Lee and his Leeway Foundation for everything they're doing. I mean, they pay people's light bills, and have Thanksgiving drives and Christmas drives and all. That's what the whole golf scramble that he had on Monday was set up to raise money for that, and also raise money for a local school, local all-girls school here called the Grace James School. Pretty much gets girls into the medical field at an early age. So shout out to Dave Lee, and then shout out to my buddy Jack Harlow.
I mean, y'all on fire today. Y'all on fire.
And that was a humble flex.
See, Charlie, I'm equal opportunity. Equal opportunity.
I love it.
Yeah, there's no, no big eyes, no little U's.
So last night was the third annual kickball game that he has to raise money for local charities in town, and it was a great turnout. I mean, you had from the Louisville guys, you had a U of L team. It was Peyton Siva and Cal Couric. It was great to see Cal Couric back in town because he didn't get back in town much. And, he had a health scare a few years ago, and the city of Louisville was super supportive of him.
Yeah,
Luke Hancock, and Steve Ventries, and all those guys. Then you had the Kentucky guys. Tyler Ulis was out there on crutches. He had some kind of knee surgery or something, and Dominique Hawkins and UK guys was out there, and then Lou City was the USL soccer team. They had a team out there, and then Jack Harlow's team was him and Master P. So, and I'm umpiring. So at one point I was arguing with Master P, which I did not have that on my checklist of things to do yesterday. But I mean, it was a good time, and they raised a lot of money that's going to help out a lot of people.
What was it, the kickball tournament, you said?
Yeah. Jack was a big soccer. He played soccer when he was a kid, so he's big into kickball. So they have
okay.
This is his third year having a kickball tournament.
I often wonder if kickball would have ever become a professional sport. How many guys would have opted for kickball instead of like basketball or football? No. The money would have dictated it, Kendrick. If the money says kickball is a viable way out of my situation, I think a lot of guys would have chosen.
It was so funny because the way kickball is, if you kick the ball down the third base line, there's no way they're going to be able to throw it all the way to first.
That's right.
Like, why are y'all coming up here trying to kick the ball to the fence? You're not going to kick it out of the infield. I'm just like, just kick it to third.
Yeah.
There's a strategy. But you can only kick it to third so many times.
Well, you can when nobody's on. Then once somebody's on, but
right.
They can come up there. You know how guys are. We go up there.
We're trying to kill it. Yeah, the ego takes over.
Right. And I think 2 balls got out of the infield the whole night in 3 games.
That's usually how it works. Well, listen, we've had a ball. Hopefully you have as well, getting you caught up with the ACC stuff. I know we are, again, excited to know that our guy Kendrick Haskins is just a little bit older and a little bit wiser today. He's clearly riding on cloud 9. Hopefully his buddy Jack Harlow will take him out to lunch today and take care of him.
He's in town for 2 weeks. He can treat me to lunch.
I'm just saying, Jack.
He just got off his floor. He's got some money.
I'll let your man. What's up? But that is Charlie Ward right there. He just won a state championship and still high on championship love, and his kids are back to school, so that's nice. That is.
I think you speak for yourself on that one.
There you go. And that is Kendrick Haskins right there, high on birthday love. I'm Lloyd Spence. We'll see you next Thursday. We'll do it all over again on Believe in the ACC. You've been listening to Believe in the ACC with Charlie Ward, Lloyd Spence, and Kendrick Haskins. Please like, follow, subscribe, and share from the Noisemakers page on Facebook and on YouTube. And you can also listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, and wherever podcasts can be heard. And